Let's talk about a recent poor purchase. So this was something that would fall under the health category. So I have developed plantar fasciitis. It is basically torn ligaments in your foot due to inflammation. Another thing to note about this is that even if you do resolve it and it's no longer causing you pain, it is something that can come back if you're not taking care of yourself. I was already dealing with health issues from inflammation in my body, and I went through this whole thing diet-wise, and it just didn't work out for me. So that's a huge part of the reason why the eating out budget is a thing and the grocery budget really is not for me right now, which is something else I need to address. But anyway, it was to a point where for a 9-hour shift, I was limping after a couple of hours. So I really needed to deal with this problem. So first I bought some shoes that I was happy with. So this might not look like much, but it actually really made a difference for me. So the shoes I was wearing before actually look almost identical to this design. I think they just have a little air bubble here, and that's pretty much the only design-wise main difference. They don't have this either. But it's got this flexible, soft-looking mesh. It's a little bit of a flexible shoe. It doesn't really look like it, but it is a non-slip shoe. So when I started seeing advertisements for this shoe, I kind of rolled my eyes that it was advertised as something that would help with plantar fasciitis, because it's like, okay, well, this looks like what I already have, so how is that going to help? Now, when it comes to your health, I do think that's an area where you should not necessarily be skimping. Yes, I want to save money, but not to the point that it's going to cause me harm in the long run. So I'm not exactly proud of this, but I ultimately went with this shoe because it was cheaper than other shoes I saw advertised that were designed to help with this problem. I put it on, I tried it, kind of rolled my eyes again because it was like, it felt exactly the same. And the first, I would say, almost week, I really didn't notice much of a difference. But as time went on, I realized there was less and less pain. I do have a bit of an issue sometimes with one of my ankles, but that's from an old injury. That's not a recent health issue. I'm not quite getting through the entire day without limping, so it still wasn't quite the solution I was working for. It made a massive difference. Don't misunderstand me. This made a massive difference, and I was overall happy with the purchase, but I wanted something a little bit better. And this is where I kind of ended up going the wrong way. I went kind of more with my instinct as opposed to truly doing my research. And again, it was basically, well, I don't want to spend that much money. So for one thing, this has been like my only work shoe that I've been wearing for the past like 5 months. It's actually held up really well. There is not a lot of wear and tear on this shoe. So honestly, I can go quite a little while longer without having to replace it. But it kind of bothered me that I didn't have a backup. When it comes to work shoes, I like to have a backup in place so that once it gets to that point, I'm able to just go ahead and switch to the next pair of shoes without having to go search, without having to go order something. But on top of wanting another pair of work shoes at the ready, it was also the fact that while this helped, it didn't really help all the way, so to speak. Now, if you want to take shoes that are doing most of the job, but not all of the job, your mindset should really not be, I need something cheaper. Now, don't get me wrong. I have a lot going on right now. I'm trying to catch up on bills. I'm trying to pay off some debt. I'm trying to get the credit cards under control. So it makes sense that I want to save money. But health, again, is a category where if you really make saving money the focal point, you may end up regretting it down the road. And that is where these shoes come in. So I kept seeing advertisements from this company called Armadillo all over my Facebook. And I am so disappointed in myself as a consumer that I fell for this. Because ultimately, I did not buy these shoes because I genuinely believed they would help with the problem. I fell for them because I fell for the advertising. And there was just probably fake endorsements. They had all these comments about, oh, this helped me. I work, on concrete all day. I'm a nurse. I'm whatever. I've struggled with plantar fasciitis, and this really made a difference for me. Blah. And I really went with the reviews. These reviews have got to be fake. First of all, this took almost 2.5 weeks to get to me. They may have originated in China. I'm not really sure. I didn't really check the first few days. Once I found out it was going to be that long, I wasn't that interested. So first of all, they're advertised as slip-resistant shoes. I can tell you just by looking at this is not a slip-resistant shoe. So that's problem number one. Number two, if you are dealing with any type of arch support issues, plantar fasciitis issues, you need to avoid cushiony shoes. You need shoes that have proper support. Now, the exterior of the shoe does not always tell you what is in the interior of the shoe. So don't get me wrong, just because a shoe looks like this does not necessarily mean that it does not have the proper support. But in general, you really want to avoid shoe bottoms that look like this, or shoes that do this, because this is not support. This is designed to cushion you. So if you are having trouble with inflammation in your foot because of the impact you're having on the ground, you don't want cushion, you want support. Lastly, I think the laces don't really work, but the actual top of the shoe. Okay, let's talk about that, all right? So I knew that I was dealing with kind of the same deal here. Okay, so we've got these sock-like tops to both of these shoes. On this one, it is just stretchy enough. It's super comfortable. It's the right foot. Absolutely love it. I do kind of miss wearing shoes that are not like sock shoes, but I need to wear what's best for my feet. And if that's the kind of shoe I have to wear, then that's the kind of shoe I have to. I'm actually thinking of going with Keen. Keen makes really good shoes, and I've heard good things about people who struggle with this issue who own Keen shoes. So that will probably be my next try. But anyways, okay, so it's almost like this is cut to not fit this size. So if you look at the length of the shoe, I guess it's fine. So this really should fit someone who's wearing this type of shoe. So lengthwise it's enough, but I could not get my foot in past like right about here. It's like lengthwise it's designed for anything. One thing they really advertised was a wide toe box. This is not a wide toe box. It's just not. Okay. Now, all things considered, if you want wide, you should order shoes that are in wide. So, like, if I don't order a shoe that is in wide, I'm not going to complain too much about this. But if you advertise this as a basic, common level of your shoe, then it should have a wider toe box than this. And it's like, I'm mad at them, I am, but I'm also so much more mad at myself because I am a more intelligent consumer than this. And especially when it comes to money that I don't want to be spending right now, like, I try to be so much more careful than this. So I am very much blaming myself, I promise you. But this can barely fit my hand. A foot, you got your toes, and then it's going to come up like this, right? So all of this space right here, that would be the top of my foot, can't fit into the top of the shoe. Who made this? I mean, it's like the cut is right for the length, but there's just no room to actually fit a foot into the shoe. Like, if I was not worried about the cost, like, I would honestly want to take this company to court. Like, you should not be advertising all of these positive... There's no way that there are nurses working 12-hour shifts who are okay with this shoe. There is no way that people who genuinely struggle with plantar fasciitis or another type of foot injury or any other type of inflammation in their foot are wearing this shoe for 10 to 12-hour shifts on hard floors and are happy with the experience. I would be shocked. Absolutely shocked if someone gets in my comment section and says, yes, I ordered this, yes, I work in this industry, yes, I work these kind of hours on these types of floors and they work great for me. In fact, if you leave a comment like that, I'm going to ask you for video evidence. I want to see it. I want evidence that you own the shoe. I want evidence of you at your job. I want evidence of the floors that you walk on. Because this shoe sucks. I also bought the wrong color, by the way. I meant to get all black. But that's neither here nor there because I can't wear it anyways. All that being said, another thing that really sold me on this was that they had this sale going on and I could get 2 shoes for $100 when they're normally supposedly like $80 each. What a steal. At this point, it would so I ended up paying, I think my grand total was like $102. It must have been just under $100 once you include tax. So my grand total was like $102 and some change. Now there's no return label. So if I want to return these, I have to go get my own shit. It's probably going to cost me a good $50 to $60 to return them. So if I send them back and get my money back, I'm only getting back $40 because of how much I'm going to have to spend to ship it. And don't get me wrong, I think companies are responsible for what they advertise. I think that many overwhelmingly psychotically positive reviews are very suspicious. I hardly doubt that they're real. But I do think you also have responsibility as a consumer. Like, I should have made a better choice here. Even if this shoe was not as disappointing to me for some of the reasons I mentioned, this is obviously not the type of shoe that I need. So I made an argument that I was doing something for my health when this is clearly not the type of shoe that's going to help me. This is not what you need if you're looking for arch support. It just isn't. It may be very comfortable to wear in other ways. If you have no issues with the arch of your foot, if you have no issues with inflammation or injuring your foot, then maybe something like this isn't going to bother you, and that's fine. But if you really need that support, this is just not the shoe for you. And if you are out shopping, whether it's online, whether it's in person, just make sure you think through your purchases, because clearly I did not think through this purchase very well. I fell for some very obvious gimmicky tactics in advertising. And as far as I'm concerned, I completely wasted $102. And that's just not money that I can be wasting right now. what's done is done. Now, who knows? I may look into this. Maybe it will be cost effective for me to ship these back. Maybe I'll get more than 40 bucks back. I'm really not sure exactly what the cost would be, so it's worth looking into. But if I do find that it's not worth my money or time, I will probably just donate these shoes. But I just, honestly, that might be better thrown away, because it's one thing if I don't like their design or don't feel they're supportive enough, but this part right here, like, someone is going to have a top of their foot that is so thin. I don't know if I can even donate these. This sucks. I'm so mad at myself that I did not make a more intelligent decision here. But anyways, so not only am I out that money, I still need to find more shoes that are going to do a little bit of a better job. Now, in the next month or so, if I do some more research and I still don't feel like I find anything that's going to help the way that I want it to, I will probably just buy some more pair of these. These are not terrible shoes. They're decent quality. They hold up pretty well, and they have helped me with the problem. I would just like something that's a little bit more effective. I want a little bit more support in here, and that's pretty much all I'm looking for. So the search continues.